Guys, today let's talk about legacy cards. So this is a term that many people don't use, but what it means is basically a legacy card describes a period in time of Pokemon. So when you think of Pokemon, you think of the base set Charizard, you think of the Sky-Rich Charizard, you think of Umbreon, and you think of many other cards like that. You think of cards that define an entire era. You think, okay, this was Sword and Shield, this was Black and White, this was base set. So I want to go over what I think the next few legacy cards will be, as well as going over what the legacy cards currently are for each era. And we're going to start in the Sun and Moon era because that's when I started both collecting and playing. I mean, I did do some stuff before XY, but my main expertise, if I can say, would definitely be the Sun and Moon and On era. So let's go over some of the legacy cards we have from that time. First off is definitely the Latias and Latios Tag Team GX Alt Art. This card was on the tips of everyone's minds while in the Sun and Moon era, but it was really not looked into until after the Sun and Moon era. I mean, I remember people picking up this card for under $100 regularly. Now it's a $4,000 card raw. This card really defines the era of the Sun and Moon. It's a tag team Pokemon, it's a lovebird. I mean, it is one of the most beautiful cards, and I wish I had realized its potential. I personally didn't love the art, but as it grew on, I think that it was definitely worthy of being the #1 card of the Sun and Moon era. There are also other cards that definitely fit in that category. We have the Burning Shadow Zard. I mean, that card as a hyper rare is only second to Latias and Latios in that Sun and Moon era. I mean, that PSA 10 is worth almost $4,000. So, I mean, there are cards, and especially, by the way, a lot of these cards are towards the end of the era. I'm talking about legacy cards being towards the end of the entire era. So other cards we have in this era of Sun and Moon would be the Solgaleo and Lunala alt arts, the Zekrom and Reshiram alt arts. We have, of course, Gardevoir and Sylveon is a great alt art. Testu Mewtwo, or the Shining Legends Mewtwo GX, was also another huge card that was for a long time, and just until now, just was at a low price, and now, boom, started picking up, and now it's almost impossible to get and a crazy high price. We also have a lot of trainer alt arts in this era that were very sought after, such as the Lily from Ultra Prism, we have the Rosa, and also I think we have the Lizia. So these cards are upwards of $600, and when you look at them, you really think, damn, these were cards that I really think define the era. These are cards that really define the Sun and Moon era. So moving on, the Sword and Shield era. These cards, of course, I mean, we'll go in some order from least to most. So we have the Lugia alt art. That card is just at the end of the Sword and Shield era. I mean, it's a card that for a very long time was, again, unrealized, like Latias, Latios. We have the Giratina alt art. That card is absolutely booming in price. I mean, it is one of the most expensive cards of the entire era. I'd say top 5 there. We have the Giratina V-Star from Crown Zenith. We have the Blaziken from Chilling Reign. Of course, we have all the evolutions from Evolving Skies and Evolving Skies and Fusion Strike. And then, of course, we have the Gengar VMAX, which I don't think anyone expected to climb that high. And I know I said no one expected it, but I certainly didn't. That Gengar really just climbed. I mean, I feel like people did expect it, but they just didn't know what to do. I wasn't investing in it. I don't think many people I knew were investing in it. I should have been, they should have been, but that was a card that, again, was unrealized. So notice that a lot of these cards on this list are, to a certain degree, unrealized until they boom. And when they boom, they go hard. Gengar is now a $2,000 card in PSA 10. Then, of course, I think the second most iconic card, or maybe third, would be the Rayquaza VMAX from, again, Evolving Skies. And of course, it's the Moonbreon, it's the Moon Kitty, whatever you want to call it. It's the Umbreon, not the Sunbreon, don't call it that. But that card is the era defining, and I might even say generation defining card of this time. So that's what we have in the past. Now, let's look at the future. Let's look at right now, the Scarlet and Violet era. This era is defined a lot by illustration rares. Let me just tell you right now. This is a very new era where instead of having cards that aren't always the top chase, we have cards that you might have looked at and said, oh, these are nice, but then they go crazy and you don't even realize it. These are cards that are often, again, unrealized until finally their games happen. So let's go over some right now. We of course have the Latias, I think it is from Surging Sparks. That card is already $300 raw and 1,000 PSA 10, which is also, by the way, I think a really good grading play that a lot of people aren't seeing. We have the Pikachu from Surging Sparks. That card is exploited, and personally I don't love that card. Like, the artwork is very okay. I don't like looking at its butthole. I don't know why they did that. That was a weird artistic choice. But Pikachu's Pikachu, it's the mascot. And it's a card that I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have expected to get up this high, but aren't surprised that it is here. Next, of course, we have the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. That one card is beautiful. Paldea Evolved Magikarp is one of the nicest cards that I think I've ever seen just looking at it head on. Like, when you see the Gyarados, the Shinji Kanda artwork is absolutely insane. And when you see it in a PSA 10, that card is $1,700. Aside from a card we're going to talk about a little later, that is the most expensive card in the Scarlet Violet era as a whole, okay? Next up, we have, of course, the Greninja from Twilight Masquerade. That is a card that I think is going to explode in value a little bit more. I think it's going to be a card a lot like the Gengar, which we all saw coming, but until it actually goes crazy, I think we won't have had this card in the rearview mirror. We're going to see this card in a few years and go, yeah, that was the card. Maybe not the best of the best, but one of the top 3 for sure. Now, we also have the Umbreon, or not this Umbreon. Again, please don't call it that. This Umbreon, which is from Prismatic Evolutions. I mean, tell me that's not one of the most beautiful cards. I mean, I have the Japanese one right here. That is a beautiful card. And I do think it has a little bit of an Umbreon tax premium, so it won't be as loved. I think it's a lot like a maybe Charizard of the eras past, where it might be a lot like the Burning Shadows Charizard. It's gonna be a lot, but I think there's gonna be a card that overtakes it and completely blows it out of the water. And that is Bubble Mew. Bubble Mew is the nicest card of this entire era so far. And that's not my opinion. Like, that's the opinion of almost anyone on the internet. Anyone you ask. Anyone who's been collecting, opening, ripping, streaming, anything. Bubble Mew is one of the most beautiful, most iconic, and most sought after cards of this entire era. I might even say that it might be the next mascot of Pokemon. Okay, we had Charizard, we had Umbreon, Mew's coming up. I'm just saying, we have a lot of nice Mew cards that I think are gonna not only explode, but I think they're gonna be a lot more sought after than they currently are. So if personally I want to invest, I think I'm gonna go with some Mews. I actually have the Bubble Mew in a PSA 10 in my personal collection. I purchased this for, I think it was $1,400. I know that's a lot. That's also Canadian, by the way, so it's more like 920 US. I don't know the exact conversion. So I paid almost market value on that card, and I only purchased that because I believe it's gonna go up. I would never purchase that just because, oh, I love the artwork, because I do love the artwork. But I do want to make some money while doing this. I don't have infinite money. I work for everything I have for this job, for Pokemon. I do a job for Pokemon. So every time I put money into it, I'm putting it not just because I love the cards, which I do, but I'm putting it because I want a return on my investment. I want to be financially safe, financially free. I want to have the opportunities to do what I want and still stay in this hobby. I know that's a little bit of a ramble, but now I want to talk about, aside from the Mew, the greatest card so far, we still have 4 sets left of this era. We have still 4 sets left of the entire Scarlet Violet era. And here are some of my predictions of what I think are going to be some of the most sought after and valuable cards. So, number 1, we definitely have Lily's Clefairy. Lily has been a top performing card in many of the past sets, especially Sun and Moon. I mean, we have Lily's Solgaleo Lunala, just talked about that. We had Lily from Ultra Prism, just talked about that. Those cards are at least $1,000 in a PSA 10, Canadian, more like 620 in US dollars. And I think these Lily Clefairy is not only a beautiful artwork, I talked about this in a past video, but it is a beautiful card that I think is going to be definitely contending with the likes of Greninja from Twilight Masquerade. So another card I think is going to be definitely on the list. I don't know if they're going to do it. Of course, this is speculation, but I think that Giovanni's Gardevoir or Team Rocket's Gardevoir is going to be a chase card. So a lot like the test tube Mewtwo, this card is definitely going to be in an environment, in a setting where I think a lot of people will really, really enjoy the card's looks, how it interacts with its environment. I assume the artwork's going to be beautiful. I expect Giovanni to be in the background. So I think that a Giovanni's Mewtwo or a Team Rocket's Mewtwo will definitely be a high tier, high chase card in the future, if they make one. And for the final one, I know this is super speculation, but I think Ho-Oh EX Alt Art will be another card like Greninja, because I really compared to Greninja, because I feel like Greninja is a card that everyone saw and liked, but then unbeknownst to them, it just kept climbing slowly and slowly, steadily, a beautiful climb increase. And I think that this Ho-Oh EX coming from the new set is going to be one that the people are going to like. I mean, we have cards like Lugia, we have cards like Rayquaza, these legendary flying beasts that are beautiful in their color scheme, they're beautiful in the way they look, the background, and of course I haven't seen it yet, but Ho-Oh is actually revealed in the next set, so I believe that a special illustration rare will be made. And again, there might be more, there might be different ones. Magikarp might fall off the face of the earth, Greninja might be the top chase card, I don't know, again this is speculation, but this is what I believe is going to happen and what I'm investing in. So if you like the video, just subscribe, like, whatever you'd like, leave a comment. It helps me a lot. I appreciate you and have a great day. Goodbye. Umbreon, I know that you're the one I want. I know that you're the one I want.